Hello, Midnight TCG members. This is Midnight Fox. We're coming to you with this week's Competitive Edge podcast. This week we have Jin Zaki recording. He won't be speaking. At least say hi. Say hello, Jin. At least give us that much voice. Hello, my name is Jin Zaki.
You're just gonna say screw it?
And we have Eddie Phoenix.
Of course you do. Hi.
And we have Keo this week.
Morning.
This week, considering it's January, so we're midway through the format, this week we're going to be talking about ban list predictions and a little bit about the ban list, giving some thoughts on personal favorite cards and what we think the ban list is going to look like come March. Last podcast we did this, we were pretty spot on. Not so sure we will be this one because it's been a pretty diverse meta. I think Konami actually did something right with this format. So to start it out, first we're gonna, like I said, we're going to talk about 3 cards each of us would like to see come back and why. So for the Fox, one of mine is Dark Magician of Chaos. Of course. Level 8 spellcaster. When he's normal or special summon, you can target a spell card in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and banish. He also has the effect of banishing any monster destroyed by battle. Of course, when he's destroyed, he leaves the field, but 2800 attack, 2600 defense. Dark Magician of Chaos is one of the ultimate monsters, and with his ability to leave the field when he gets banished, I think with all the cards we have to bring back things from the banish, no, he probably isn't going to come back, but just as an overall Chaos monster, Dark Magician of Chaos has been one of my favorites since the beginning, and the Fox has been pretty depressed to see him sitting on the list for this long, especially when we got the last spoiler. It talked about Dark Magician of Chaos coming back. So that's one of mine. What are your guys' thoughts on Dark Magician of Chaos? What do you think, Eddie?
For me, I know my friend is probably listening to this. So for D-Mock to come back, he's a huge magician player. This would give a major boost to the spellbook deck list. More than a boost than what it already has now.
Which I think is why it's not going to come back, unfortunately, since it's so spell heavy. It just make it broken.
Yeah, but for D-Mock to come back, I would love to see it just because, just come back one format and just to give a little bit more, just give more diverseness to the metagame.
But I really think in order to get a powerful monster like that, we're going to have to lose like Black Luster Soldier on the beginning, because they don't give us one, and they don't give us both. They give us one or the other during the format. What do you think, Keo? What do you think of Dark Magician Chaos?
Will never come back because with the current meta where we have Dark Hole and Heavy Storm and Reborn, one of those should go before D-Mock actually able to come back. Because back in the day, you can just Monster Reborn, and with D-Mock combo, there's a lot of shenanigans can happen.
D-Mock will always be one of the Fox's faves. That's why I always keep my IOC version. The Fox's second one came when Synchros came. Dark Strike Fighter. He's a level 7 Synchro, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuners, so no specifics, 2600 attack, 1800 defense. You contribute a monster to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the level times 200. This guy created a lot of OTKs. He's a dark, so he's Chaos food. And he's a quick game finisher. I think that's really the reason we don't see him come back. I think as a possibility down the road, as XCs become more popular than levels and synchros, I think we might have a chance of getting this guy back because it is level times 200, so you can't drop an Xyz monster to Dark Strike Fighter, but you can drop a field full of levels to go bam, 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 I'm going to burn you, and then burn himself, and boom, it's game over. I ran it in a Harpy Blackwing hybrid before Blackwings ever got all the support that came to them when they first hit in Crimson Crisis. I ran Dark Strike Fighter, and I ran 3 copies of him because he was an easy level 7 to go into and just go, okay, tap, tap, boom, blow the field. Game over. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to stay for a while, at least until Konami gets people to get away from synchros. They'll never completely go away, but once they get people, as we're starting to move into Xyz monsters, once they get it really pushed hard on Xyz, we might have a chance of getting this guy back, but not now. But I'd like to see him come back. What about you, Eddie?
See, the point is, right now, the side deck is already pretty much... Or not the side deck, the extra deck. Already congested as it is, with almost all XYZs. So really, we're pretty much already out of the synchro generation. Because the only synchros that really get ran anymore are Stardust Dragon for Starlight Road,
Catastor,
and Legendary Six Samurai Shien.
I don't know. I use Black Rose and Gaia Knight. I only use 4 synchros in my entire extra deck. But I would drop a Black Rose in a second for Dark Strike Fighter.
Well, I'm just saying that those are the only ones you really see thrown out there anymore. It's not a synchro game anymore. It's now an XYZ game. So...
Would you like to see him come back?
He could come back with all the things that can stop him.
And people would love Barrel behind the door again.
Nah, Barrel behind the door, do Jack.
What about you, Keo? What's your thoughts about Dark Strike Fighter?
Too good. The moment he's come back, Blackwing coming back. Infinity will have the bun.
This would make Blackwings deadly again. Dark Strike Fighter. That I think, honestly, in the Blackwing deck with the Dark Arm build, the Vayu Turbo build, that's where Dark Strike Fighter was absolutely at his deadliest. That's just my thoughts on him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And last but not least for the Fox, my personal favorite, just because it changes the game up completely, and I don't ever see this card coming back. We actually had it in our last Flash tournament, or 2 Flash tournaments ago, and it actually made it pretty interesting. Fiber Jar, plant-type monster, flip effect monster. Both players unite all their respective cards on the field, in their hands, and in their graveyard with their respective decks and shuffle them. Then both players draw 5 cards from their shuffled decks. So basically, you reset your entire deck, graveyard, hand, and field, but your life points don't change. This could be a real game wrecker if it came back. We saw that 2 Flash tournaments ago when every deck had to run it, the way that it could completely change the face of the game. You could have a field full of monsters and spamming your opponent, and you run into their Fiber Jar, and uh-oh, Eddie, you saw it.
Yeah, I ran into it a couple times.
Send 5 monsters right back to his deck. He had that field built up, ready to pounce, and he hit Fiber Jar. This guy would be a game changer if he'd come back, but that people say right, at the moment, Morphing Jar is the ultimate reset button. Fiber Jar is the original reset button. and quite annoying. What are your thoughts, Eddie?
I think the people who are saying that the morphing jar is a reset button, it's not really a big reset button unless you're playing something like Exodia. Because, to me, all that the morphing jar does is it allows me to be able to get to where if I have emptied my hand and I have nothing else to get, all I'm doing is getting 5 more monsters, spells, and traps to where I can pull and then set. And then we go from there. It's not a reset button like Fiber Jar was, where you just take the entire everything and just go, okay, here we go again.
This game was removed from play decks heavily. Macro bunnies would go bye-bye. They'd be like, oh no, everything's been removed. I can't do it anymore. I have no deck.
It'd be hilarious to watch.
Yes, it would.
Because it's just like, okay, we're starting back anew again. Son of a gun. And then it's like, yeah, if you pull the opening hand, you set it again, and it's like, well, here we go. That's probably why it went back.
This would reset Bayou Turbo. This would reset Light Sworns, where Judgment Dragon and your Bayou Turbo engines would no longer be as competitive because you don't have the graveyard to rely upon. I'd love to see at least one format where we got this guy for 6 months and see how badly he would wreck the game.
Nope.
What are your thoughts, Keo?
Actually, 1 month. Just 1 month. It's gonna wreck the format in 1 month.
What but? This would completely change the face of the game. If we get Fiber Jar just one format, it would either troll the game and people would leave, or you would see people start to get inventive again because you never know when your game's going to get reset.
Oh, I would love it. Absolutely
and you're
love
gonna
it.
see a lot of people raging about it.
Think of Inzectors who rely heavily on the graveyard.
Well, the thing is, they would be able to destroy it. They would be able to destroy it if it popped off. So it's just like, oh, I'm going to just go put my 2 cards out here. Just, pop, everything. Up, I popped your Fiber Jar. YOLO, you win. It's like, fuck.
All right, well, that's the Foxes 3 that I'd like to personally see come back. Eddie, why don't you clue us in on your 3 guys you'd like to see come back and give us an explanation as to why. Start with your first one.
My first one's going to be Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. We've already got Blackluster Soldier. There's so many ways that he can be stopped. So, and the same can be said about Chaos Emperor Dragon. So, I understand that his effect is rather quote-unquote broken, but there are many ways to even stop it. And now there's a new trap that's getting ready to come out that does the exact same thing that Effect Failure does twice over. So...
not Skill Successor,
Retro Skill.
What was that again, Keo?
Retro Skill.
Yes. I look at that being a good tech card.
Yeah, Breakthrough Skill will be.
My thoughts on Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. He can be broken, and yes, it's an easy summon, a light and a dark. But you're paying a cost, so you have to pay your cost regardless. So unlike Blackluster Soldier, where you just get to choose which effect you're going to use, you actually have to pay a cost, and if they negate it, then you paid your cost for nothing. I mean, of course, being able to send cards in both players' hands and on the field of the graveyard, you could end up hurting yourself. So, and the 300 damage for each card, I could see where some of that might all be broken, but in my personal opinion, I really see Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning being more broken than Envoy of the End, just because he has no cost to activate his effect. You can just say, oh, I'm going to clear your field. Oh, I'm going to clear your field. Oh, I'm going to render your mirror forces useless. And every time you set a monster, I'm going to remove it because it doesn't matter what it's in. And I don't have to pay a cost to activate his effect. And I can end the game quickly by pounding you with him and then, boom, attacking you directly for 3,000 or attacking your other monster. I honestly think he's more broken than Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. That's just my opinion.
Thought you had to pay 1,000 life points to activate his effect.
That's what I'm saying. You have a cost with Envoy of the End. You don't with Envoy of the Beginning.
True.
That's why I say I don't see him as broken, because you're going to have to weigh that in your mind. Do I want to pay the 1,000 life points? Someone's going to pop skill drain in response to me paying that 1,000 life points. Oh, well, they paid 1,000 life points and just negated. I wasted. I got a 3,000 beater out. Same thing as you're going to get from Envoy of the Beginning. And the thing with Envoy of the Beginning is that he's supported by Honest since he's a light monster.
Yep.
What about you, Keo? What do you think of Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End?
It's fairly deck specific compared to Blackluster Soldier, but the first thing I can think of that can use him well is Infinity. They don't need a hand. So,
these would see a lot more play with this card, I agree.
Also with Light Swan, they not exactly need a hand either. Well, they need a range, yeah.
I was going to say, I kind of disagree with that. You really need a hand with Light Sworn to keep advantage. Can you survive a couple turns without a hand? Yes. But you really have to have a hand throughout the game to maintain advantage.
Yes, but if the fact is that if your opponent, if you summon him properly and the fact not negated, your opponent will be top decking the same as you, and most of the time.
What I like about this is his ability to take decks like windups that are annoying, Madolches. Yes, I'm going to hate on your deck, Keo. Madolches that benefit so much from hand advantage, and you shut them down because they no longer have a hand. It would be a great way to counter the annoying decks of the meta right now, because probably 60% to me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now is hand advantage. I've noticed that if you empty your hand quickly, you're more bound to lose than if you play things out slowly and you keep hand advantage. You have more of a chance of winning by keeping that advantage versus field advantage, graveyard advantage, removed from play advantage. It's mostly hand advantage in today's meta.
I'm gonna have to disagree because of the fact that as long as you've got a really good field presence to where you can just wreck your opponent from just the cards on your field, then really it's not a hand advantage, because you can have all the cards in your hand in the world and your opponent can just go, nope, nope, I'm sorry, but nope, 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 nope.
If you set up the OTK, then yeah, field advantage plays a hand in it. But the big advantage you have over your opponents is your hand that they cannot see. That's where I come from in thinking that hand advantage is better in today's meta, because they can see what's on your field. They can plan with an effect Veller. They can plan with a solemn warning. They can plan for things with your field. They can't plan as much with your hand unless they play a card that allows them to see your hand. That's where I think hand advantage right now has it over field advantage at the moment. Not like it was back in the days of Soul Control before we had Synchros and Xyz monsters. I mean, we're spam heavy right now. It's so easy to just go boom, 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 boom. I'm going to beat you in 1 to 2 turns. Game over.
But speaking of spam heavy, this brings me to, I was gonna save this card for last, but I'm actually gonna move it to second since you kind of really set me up into it. I want to see a return of Royal Oppression. Yes, you had to pay 800 life points, but you stop your opponent from special summoning. And they can also pay 800 to stop you from special summoning. So granting, the card is a double-edged sword.
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
But the card, it would just help set up for so many games. The only issue is if your opponent decides to go, okay, I'm going to be the one who holds all the cards here. I'm going to make it to where I can pull out all the stops. To where it's like they're setting up to where they can put down their wind-up Zenmaines and other things that will stop my opponent from destroying what's on my side of the field, and then popping the Royal Oppression to stop my special summoning. But
I'm gonna honestly say that I think that's one of the worst moves Konami did when they wanted to hit us with the Xyz monsters, was getting rid of Royal Oppression, because this really was your answer to Synchros and special summon monsters, Monster Reborn, Call of Haunted at 3. There's so many ways to special summon if you're running rabbits. You can run Birthright in there, Swing of Memories, to bring back your vanilla monsters, even without the rabbits.
mm-hmm.
I think the worst thing they did was to do Royal Oppression, because, yes, it is also a double-edged sword. Your opponent can use it as well. I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I'd love to see Royal Oppression back, because I think it would change the face of the game and the speed at which it's going right now, which is really what has dragged a lot of players away from the game, is that so many decks make it where you can just draw, special summon, special summon, special summon, game over.
Yep.
What about you, Keo? What do you think of Royal Oppression?
Why I do want it to come back, I do understand that the moment it's come back, every single wild deck will have a Royal Oppression in it. Because they just need 2 cards to set up the combo, and then they set Royal Oppression, and then that's game. Nothing you can do about that, since you cannot activate. So, because they can easily do first turn Shockmaster, and if Shockmaster calling spell, and with Royal Oppression in the back row to negate any special summon for monster effect, you kind of not able to work with that.
I think this would honestly be the answer to the spamage that's allowed in the game right now. At least one Royal Oppression, and we all know it would go back to being a staple in any deck, because there's so many ways to special summon now.
And plus, I mean, you've also got the fact of you're running 2 Solemn Warnings in almost every deck, and then you've got that on top of it. So
yeah, 4,000 points right there. You pay it down by 800 with Royal Oppression, and you finish it off with Solemn Warning. You can actually finish yourself by using it. I really hate to see Konami hit that, because this card really is the answer we need right now in the special summon heavy meta.
Unless you're like me, to where it's like, okay, you're gonna just sit here and just burn yourself to death. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'll just sit here and wait. You gotta attack me, Magic Cylinder for game.
But see, I could see the old school players going back and going, time to bring back Soul Control.
Exactly.
So what's your third one, Eddie?
My third one, this one might be a little bit off the charts, but I want to see Plants come back, because it's one of those unique deck types that's really, really powerful if you get it up and running. So I want to see Spore come back.
Spore's
Wrong one.
I mean, Glow Up Bulb?
Or not Spore, but excuse me, Glow Up Bulb.
Yeah, Spore.
I'm a penguin. I'm tired, so.
Spore's already came back and has not made an impact at all.
I want to see Glow Up Bulb come back. I think this, partnered with Spore, partnered with Dandelion, going down to 2, it can make a real big splash for plants in the meta again.
I would say I kind of agree, and it has its broken points, but it can only be used. It can only be used once per duel for the duelists, and you still have to pay a cost. You have to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to special summon it. So I mean, there's still a cost involved with it. But, of course, then Konami's probably going to look at, well, plants were so broken and everybody complained about it. That's why we hit Glow-Up Bulb, Spore, Dandelion, and what's the other one? Lone Fire Blossom, and there's one other guy I'm thinking of that just is not popping in my brain.
What was the list again?
Reborn Tengu.
Ah, yes, Reborn Tengu.
That's why they completely took out that engine within 2 formats, because you could make a very broken deck, but that was with synchros being heavy, and now we're moving to Xyz. I could see the possibility with more people running Xyz monsters, the possibility of Glow Up Bulb coming back, since we're moving away from synchros. What do you think, Keo?
Yeah, I could see it's coming back. And if it's coming back, a lot of decks gonna have more power card. Like with Injector, you could Mewtwo on it, and you Injector already have a way to increase the level of the monster, so you can easily have a tuner and a monster to synchro summon it. That's a pretty good addition to the game.
The one thing I've noticed about Konami is that they never completely let a section of your deck die out. They still release fusions, they still release synchros. They don't want any section of the deck to die out. They just want you to move to another area and forget about the past one, and then they bring back those cards that support that. And then people go back and look and go, oh, well, you know what? Hey, maybe I can run synchros again. I think taking out all of our strong synchros like Brionac, Trishula, Goyo, and Dark Strike Fighter was one of the selling points to moving us to Xyz monsters, because your broken cards were taken away from you. The only problem I see with this guy is when Shiny Magician hits and his ability to not be destroyed, and he's 2 level 1s. So couple that with Treeborn, and you could still use this guy for you could still use him for an overlay unit for an Xyz, but I could see it down the road when they want people to start looking at synchros again, possibly. So, with Eddie's 3, we'll move on to Keo. What's your first one, Keo?
My first one would be Goyo Guardian, my favorite warrior synchro, generic as well. So he's level 6, generic warrior with the highest attack for level 6 is 2800. His ability is that whenever he destroys a monster and sends it to Arabia, you can special summon it in defense position on your side of the field. That's the main reason why he was banned. So with all the XYZs happening, I could see him coming back, because Toronto Tribute is at 2, Mirror Force at 2, Viola's easily negate him.
But
So
when you look at the flip side of that, also the ability to hit your opponent's monsters and use them for Xyz material.
yes,
That's the hurtful part to it. And as you said, he's a powerhouse. He's level 6 powerhouse, even in defense.
in defense,
Even in defense, he's got 2,000 defense for a level 6.
I guess that's true. He's
So-
a very powerful warrior.
I could see it maybe a couple formats further on as they push more Xyz monsters and people kind of just throw Goyo Guardian to the back of their, synchros to the back of their mind like they did with fusions. I could see Goyo Guardian making a comeback then, but Konami's good about, making us hold out till newer players don't see these guys or older players forget about them, and then they'll bring them back. Because then people don't abuse them like they used to, the exception being, I would say, in my honest opinion, Monster Reborn and Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. Outside of that, anything they've brought back, nobody's really abused because they've given us so many more options that it's kind of like, this isn't as broken as it used to be. It's like Spore. They gave us Spore back, and I've not seen it used in a deck yet. What about you, Eddie? What do you think of Goyo Guardian? I know you got lots to say about this guy.
For me, Goyo Guardian, I would love to see it come back, but I know it won't. Because of the simple fact of I can hit monsters and then bring them back, and then, you know, get some freak seed materials, and then, you know, just...
And you're going to have a hard time getting rid of me. Huh?
Yeah.
Now, I could see if they brought back brain control or something other than mind control to where you could steal your opponent's monster other than number 11 stealing their monster.
Yeah.
Possibly. But yeah, this guy, he would increase spamage in my opinion. He would definitely go back to being a staple and be like, oh, I'm going to bring out my Goyo Guardian and I'm just going to take your entire field.
Yep.
So what's your second one, Kyo?
My second one also the recently banned Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier.
Rish.
He's level 9, require 1 tuner, 2 non-tuner monster, and 1 his secret summon. You can banish 1 card from each area, field, hand, and riviera. It's just a fairly good card, and I can see how it was banned. But stream deck running synchro now and getting level 9 isn't bad. It could come back for one format. See how that goes.
Well, gonna kind of agree. The thing that makes Trishula harder to play is that she's 1 tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. So she is out. I really don't see why they ever hit her other than the plus she gives of removing, because she is harder to get out, and she's got substandard for a level 9, 2700 attack, 2000 defense, and like I said, she's a level 9 synchro. But I see where they went with Brionic, although he's our answer to cards like Zen Mains and Stardust Dragon and all that. But Trishula, I see the possibility of her coming back, and that's why I won't get rid of mine. I hold on to it because I have a feeling she'll come back soon. What about you, Eddie?
The thing is, for me, I would like to see Trish come back because being able to get rid of a field, hand, and graveyard card, this would kill Inzectors. Which I have no problem with. But that's just me.
This would actually kill a lot of problem decks because, let's face it, I mean, the game now utilizes every section. Yes, I went into my comments about hand advantage versus field advantage, but every part of your deck is important. So being able to knock out 1 from each section really could be a good answer to, again, the spamage that's available in the game. So what's your third one, Kyo?
My third one is Trap the Shoot. It's just recently banned, and with it, if you have his turn 1, it's a really give you a lot of hand advantage against your opponent. Seeing if your opponent have 4 more cards in the hand, you take a look at one of their monster and set and return to the deck. So if your opponent don't run any monster, this card defeats the purpose. Although the good part about it is at least you see what your opponent hand to know what they're gonna do.
You said trap dust shoot, right?
Yep.
I kind of could see that too, you know. Some of the things that I see Konami hit, I'm kind of like, what? Really? The only way that trap dust shoot was really effective was always opening hand. If you open hand, it was always great. Later in the game, not so much, but with the way that decks like Six Samurai, Madolchis, and Inzectors, all the decks that fill your hands, this again is another answer to really slow these decks down, because your opponent's going to be thinking, do I really want to fill up my hand, because that could be a trap dust shoot sitting in the back that's going to hit me.
Yep, and if you do a lot of summoning and your opponent drop a maxi, yeah, you can let them draw and look at their hand later on, see what in their hand.
So,
What about you, Eddie?
For me, it's one of those cards to where, depending on what deck you're going against, it's not really going to matter. Because even with the dust shoot, sending, what was it, a monster or just a card back to the deck? Because I can't remember right offhand. Was it a monster, or was it just a monster, or are you able to send
just
a
a monster.
card?
Just a monster.
For a deck like Inzectors, it won't matter. For a deck like Six Samurais, it won't matter. For a deck, Mermails, Madolchis, I don't see it really mattering as well. Chaos Dragons, the only thing you're really doing there is impact their Red Eye Darkness Metal Dragon if they've got it in hand, and that'll slow them down just a little bit, but...
Well, excuse me. From that, we'll move on to kind of where we think the list is going to go. So I'll start it out. For me, honestly, this has probably been the best format Konami has given us in forever. Everything's been pretty balanced. It's not always the same decks topping every event. Are there trouble decks that 1 to 2 decks that usually top at every event? Yes. But there are counters to it now when we got Abyss Rising. For me, about the biggest change I could see as far as banning, I could see them moving Monster Reborn back to a ban status and either leaving it at that or giving us Premature back, because at least with Premature, you were stuck with paying a cost. It was an equip card, so when it's gone, the monster's gone, and it's constricted to your own graveyard. So, I mean, as far as Forbidden, really that's the only change I could see happening, is that they take away our power card in Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn, honestly, in today's meta, can be a complete game changer if you have it in hand and your field set up right. It's easy to go into Shockmaster, etc. with Monster Reborn. So, as far as banned, that's really the only thing I could see them doing with that. Unless they're going to take away Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning from us. But with Wind-Ups and Mermails and Atlantean not relying as much on lights and darks, I don't know if they'd hit that yet. I would look more at pure destruction, either Dark Hole or Monster Reborn. But Monster Reborn's more of a game changer. I could see them taking that and giving us Premature back. So at least you're paying a cost, and at least that monster can be gotten rid of. That's my take on bans, and I'm sure everyone will have their own opinions on that. As far as limitations, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that probably one of the cheaper decks to run that's actually quite annoying, Kyo. I could see Madolchi's Tiramisu getting limited to 1 or 2 because really she is the power of it. The rest of the cards are great support and they're good for bringing out other seas monsters and stuff. But the ability to shuffle stuff back, which Ticket and Chateau as a combination, and your other monsters already do, Tiramisu does that, plus you get to send back cards from your opponent's field. And you get to clear it away. I could see Tiramisu getting hit to 1 or 2. And
the problem is, the only problem with that is, Madoshi deck don't ever summon more than 2. And they don't ever run 3.
well, and I don't see any running 3. That's why I say I would think they'd take Tiramisu to 1 because that's really the powerhouse of the deck. Yes, it's annoying to watch Mess and Gelato and all the others go into other monsters, but the real problem is the field clearing presence that Tiramisu gives.
I can see that.
If you're looking at Mermails, I look at Abyss Lind. Either her or Atlantean Dragoons, and the advantage that they create by hitting the graveyard if you're going to hit those decks. But I really don't see them doing that. I would look more at, as far as bans or limited, maybe, and this is a high maybe because I've seen at the most 2 in a deck, Zen Mains, just because of its ability to destroy at the end phase and negate its own destruction. But there's compulsory, there's Madolchis that send back. There's lots of cards to send it back, so it's not as much of a headache as people initially thought if you run the right cards. But that, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and probably make some 6 Sam people unhappy. I'm going to say 6 Samurai United to 1 or 2. 6 Samurai, I would say, has been one of the more... what's the word I'm looking for?
Swarming?
Not swarming, but it's always able to pull off its stops. Consistent. One of the consistent decks, just because of how easy it is to go into Legendary 6 Samurai Shien and Naturia Beast or Barkion in your first turn and completely shut your opponent down because your spell and trap zone is important in Yu-Gi-Oh! And they took a... It's the one I'm thinking of. Darn it. Not Shien Smoke Signal, the other one. Yeah. Gateway of the Six. They already took Gateway of the Six down to 1. And in order to go into Legendary 6 Samurai Shien and Beast or Barkion, the draw engine is what it really depends on. So keeping the 6 Samurai draw engine alive, I think they're going to take that away for at least a format or 2 and get people to go away from 6 Samurais. The last one I could see that could possibly make a change would be Rabbit, just because people are starting to expand their horizons past Dino Rabbit now, and with the new Harpies hitting, they're looking at cards like Sonic Duck and Harpy's Brother, and being able to go into wind monsters and go nuts with it. And you've got Macro Rabbit. For myself, you've got Wet Rabbit. Even at 2, Rabbit is still dangerous. Other than that, I'm just going to say I think Royal Oppression has a good chance of coming back. I really do. I'm going to go back to what Eddie said. And with the way that it's so easy to special summon, I could see Royal Oppression coming back because it doesn't stop inherent special summons like Glad Beasts and things like that. So anything that's going to go out and search in your deck, it's not going to stop that, but it's going to stop your Xyz spam engines, your Synchro spam engines, your special summon spam engines at the cost of 800 life points per negation. So you're still paying a cost and you're giving your opponent an advantage. So just my thoughts. I really don't see them hitting anywhere else on there because honestly, like I said, I think this has probably been one of the most balanced formats other than Eddie's tirade on Inzectors that Konami has given us. So with that, what do you guys think of my list?
I like it. Well, somewhat. It's still one of those things to where I'm going to go back and I'm going to smack you for the Six Samurai stuff because it's one of those to where Six Samurai United, if you limit it with everything else that's already been limited in Six Samurais, it kills the deck completely. People will not want to pick this deck up and run it. They'll just go and they'll look at wind-ups or the mermails, and they'll just go, we'll just play these because they can play more consistently and more.
Well, I think that's the whole point. Six Samurais have been around since Strike of Neos, and they've gotten more and more and more support, and people have gotten real heavy into playing them because they are consistent. So as decks get more consistent and there's ways to skirt being able to special summon and spam the field, Konami looks at ways to kill them for a while until people forget about them. It's like the plants, and now they're slowly starting to give us some of that support back, and people aren't looking back at plants. I think Konami really goes back and they look at, well, let's kill this for now, let people forget about it, and then sometime down the road when we've got other engines, we'll bring a part of it back. But Six Samurais is one of the most devastating decks in its ability to shut down your spell and trap zone. Because Darkhole, Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, Dimensional Prison, Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgments, those are your answers to almost anything. And if you get down a legendary Six Samurai Shien and a Beaster Barkion or a Great Shogun Shien, you basically have game because you have complete and total control of the back row. And Six Samurai United allows you to use your normal summons and special summons to get that draw engine and shut your opponent down. And it's versatile also in Six Samurai United because you're not just limited to drawing. You can use it for other purposes like resurrecting monsters and stuff. So just my thoughts on that.
Just think the Gateway, but Six Samurai United just poorly drawing.
Oh, did I mix those two up?
Yep, Gateway is what has been limited because it can add card to hand.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, still the draw engine of it. I mean, that's, like I said, that's part of the consistency is the 3-6 Samurai United. Any Six Samurai player is going to throw 3-6 Samurai United in there along with Gateway for the draw engine to be able to go into Legendary Six Samurai Shien, Shadow of the Six, MX Saber Invoker, Great Shogun Shien, what have you, anything that's going to shut down that back row. And MX Saber Invoker gives you the ability to spam the field with what you need to go into these various monsters. So I look at them to hit Six Samurai. I hate to break it to you, Eddie and Jen. I really think they're gonna hit Six Samurai on this list.
Nope. Sadly, but they will never hit Six Sam again.
They probably won't be hitting them anytime soon.
Wind-Ups currently is...
Wind-Up's way too powerful, way too high up on the horse for them to hit it.
I think that if they hit anything on wind-ups, they need to go for probably Rat and wind-up Rabbit. There's actually a loop to it. When it comes back, it's no longer affected by its ability. you can keep removing it. So you run into a mirror force or a dimensional prison. Oh, I'm just going to remove my wind-up rabbit anyways. Bring it back next turn and negate whatever you're going to use to stop it. So I can see them hitting rabbit, especially with it being reprinted, so it's easy to get a hold of.
I can honestly see them hitting Zen Mines as well.
Well, that was one of my points, but my counterpoint to that was that there's compulsory, there's the Madolchi Tiramisu to send back. There's lots of cards that send back. A lot of people just don't look at your tech cards that are available. Like, I have seriously thought of making Grand Mole a staple sidecard deck just for Zen mains, just for Stardust.
You forgot one card, Fox. Number 50. Yes. Number 50.
Number 50, he sends. He doesn't destroy. So, yeah. I mean, that's a way to get rid of Zen mains. So, I don't know about Zen mains. I'd look more at the actual engine to it.
Yeah,
Maybe Wind Up Factory, even.
Wind Up Factory does need a hit, because it's not once per turn. It's once per turn, but it's not... You can activate Factory once. If you have 3 copies on the field, you can get 3 cards to your hand. Easily.
So, any other thoughts on my predictions, guys?
Well, that's it.
Well,
Except for United.
I'll pass it on to Eddie. Let's get Eddie's thoughts on the ban list.
I'm still, as I sit here, I'm still going to brew and stew about it because it's one of those things to where I played against Kyu when he decided to do his Plant Zector deck. The deck didn't even play to plants at all. All you needed was the Inzector engine, and then it was just GG's all the way. To me, I'll even throw this out there to challenge anyone. If you can take those 2 to 3 cards for an Inzector deck to run at the top tier, if you take those 2 to 3 cards and you run them in almost any deck, I don't give a damn what the deck is. You throw in stupid vanilla monsters and just run it with the cards, you could win 90% of your games, at least in my opinion, because of those pesky fucking insects. But that's just me. That's just me. I think we need to have them hit a little bit more to nerf them down more, along with wind-ups being hit to be nerfed down a little bit more, because almost, I'd say 1 out of every 4 decks that you're seeing in the top 32 are wind-ups. That, to me, is just a stagnant and boring way to see the metagame right now. So, I want to see wind-ups get that hit. I can see... Go ahead.
I'm still going to throw my Madolchi hate in there.
I know.
It's
I know.
a stuff. It really is.
We're all going to have our personal hates. One of the scariest things that I saw when I played against someone from YF when they were playing Chaos Dragons, it was their Chaos Dragons versus my Blackwings. And I somehow magically swarmed the field and beat them. I want to see Black Whirlwind bump back down to 2. It would give the Blackwings a little bit more love and a little bit more come-uppins, so to speak, because you would see them play a little bit more, and people would, you know, just start playing them, and it's like, yay, we can finally see them come back. A card that I don't see why it's still limited, and it's been limited all these times, that needs to just go unlimited at this point because nobody's going to flip and touch it and play with it. Scapegoat.
I do play with that.
I know, but I'm just saying.
You know how annoying that is in a frog deck?
I know, but I'm just saying, though. How many people actually are running it right now in the big metas?
Well, with Shiny Magician hitting, that's an easy Shiny Magician.
Still, it's an idea
you
to
can. You can do it in Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying it's an idea. You can throw it down to semi-limited or unlimited, because I mean it's just right now it's not being seen or touched at all.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
really, if you wanted to just throw it down, you could. Ultimate Offering, I could, with it, special summoning being so heavy, being able to pay 500 at normal summon, granted you're making a cost to make another move, I could see it possibly being bumped up to banned.
That was what I forgot when I was going over my Medolci hating. That's one of the things that's a key engine to that is Ultimate Offering and the ability to boom, boom, boom. And it plays to decks like Gadgets and any other deck that depends on normal summons. So, but probably the most annoying, Medolci's.
Switching around Monster Reborn for Premature Barrel, I could see that. Because for Monster Reborn, you're getting a huge +1 without having to pay really anything except the card itself. But if you're having to where it's, okay, I've got 800 plus life points left, and it's like, okay, I gotta pay this cost to bring back this monster. I don't know if I want to do it or not. I don't know, and it's like, I could see Formula Synchron dropping because we're moving away from the synchros. So I can see it just going down to maybe semi-limited. I could see Heavy Storm possibly going back up to banned because there's already a lot of back row hate in the game now with 3 MST. You're being able to run things like Dust Tornado, being able to have Evilzar, Lagia.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the fact is, Heavy Storm can run in every deck, and it's only 1 card. While if you run 3 MST, that costs you 3 cards.
True, but it's one of those things to where Heavy Storm, as long as you wipe that back row and you wipe, like if you have in your opening hand Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, if you're running a deck like 6 Sams, you can GG turn 1.
You could.
But the chances of running into it are more slim. I would say that if they took Heavy Storm from us, they would give us True Nade back.
Which
True.
never gonna happen.
I doubt that
Never
would,
gonna happen.
or possibly giving Cold Wave back.
No. That thing is broken.
Are you
Exactly.
kidding me?
Exactly.
Cold
Exactly.
Wave plus Glad Beasts with XC's monsters being available in the meta, Glad Beasts would be just as terrible as they were even without Rescue Cat. Glad
True.
Beasts would rule the meta again with Cold Wave back.
That would be just LOL. What?
Because you're not just able to go into Gyzaris and Heraclinos and now Esadari, which are the 3 main guys you go into, but now I can just contact Fuse out and I'm going to spam the field with the Xyz monsters. No, they won't be able to tag out, but now I can make use of Gladiator's Return. Drop them to the grave for Xyz units, send them back to the deck, and I get to draw.
Yeah. One of the monsters that's on the limited list I would like to see drop down is, of course, Dandelion. I loved the quick draw engine when it was played. So why not, hey Konami, why not give us that back a little bit? That way we can have a little bit more life into the game again.
What's your thoughts on Tour Guide? Do you look at it to stay semi-limited or go down to limited or
Tour Guide?
not bus? Tour Bus is one of the most overlooked cards in the game. It's along the lines of Dandelion. It's a level 3. It's an easy Xyz unit. And what a lot of players don't catch with Tour Bus and Dandelion is they get their effects when they're dropped as Xyz units because all they got to do is get sent to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Bus completely overlooked. That's why I love the Tour Guide Tour Bus engine.
Yeah. And see, if you threw that together and you threw it in with the quick draw engine, just be able to, because it'd be one huge special summoning power kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, that could be a top deck real easy.
Quick draw decks could go easily into Tyrus and Adrius.
Yeah. So really, there you go with that. In the already semi-limited department, since Blackwings aren't getting that much love anyway, you could drop Kalut down to 3. I could see either it being limited or semi-limited super polymerization because of heroes. But I don't think very many hero decks run that card. So someone's going to have to refresh my memory on that one. I would love to see Bottomless Trap Hole drop down to 3 because special summoning is just so predominant. Why not go ahead and just have it to where you can stop your opponent outright?
But there are so many cards now that are under 1,500 that, yeah, it's not as deadly as it once was. A lot of people run things like Torguide, Torbus, Sangan, Rescue Rabbit that you're not going to hurt them with. So, yeah, I could see Bottomless going to 3 because people are moving more away from the high attack monsters because they can spam easily with Xyz monsters.
Yeah. The other thing you could do is you could throw trap holes into your deck to stop those monsters, but trap hole only works on normal summon monsters. As far as other cards that could, from the limited or semi-limited list, that could go down, I could see, because it's not ran, the engine isn't ran anymore, Destiny Hero Malicious.
No. Destiny Troll currently at 3, so no.
Okay. That's a fair argument.
Yeah.
We could drop Card Trooper down to 3.
Is the Card Trooper already? Oh,
yeah, Card Trooper is semi. Honestly, we could also drop Debris Dragon into 3. How many decks do you see actually run Debris Dragon?
Not much, but if you had 3, there gonna be a lot of decks gonna run it.
True, that
because
is
you
true.
can easily XYZ into rank 4 now. With him.
Yes, I do have to agree with you on the argument there. But it's also one of those things to where we're maybe looking at this from just, perspective, and just, okay. Cards I could see that are just in the unlimited slot right now, I see none of those cards moving anywhere.
Except the only card I really see people using a whole lot is maybe E-Teleport and Necro Gargant.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's really where it's at. Other than that, yeah, nobody's really touched Destiny Draw heavily, Level Limit Area B, and that's because Level Limit doesn't stop Xyz monsters because they're ranks. Swords, people don't even worry about swords as much anymore.
Yeah.
Marshmallow, I mean, yeah, he's a great staller, and it's great to have him at 3, and if you really want it to be a jerk, you could run 3 Marshmallows and 3 Spirit Reapers, and you've got Chaos material, but there's so many better options available out there. Yeah, the Unlimited, what they did on the last one, really had no huge effect on the game. I mean, even E-Teleport, everybody thinking, oh man, it's going to make it huge. I see maybe people running it at 1 in their decks, so it really made no huge impact.
Also, honestly, I'm a dumbass. I forgot 2 other cards. Because of me already sitting here supporting and hyping up plants, Lone Fire Blossom needs to go to 2.
Yep, if you want it.
And then, because he's been a yo-yo card almost the entire time since he's been out, I can see Chaos Sorcerer dropping down to 2 or going back straight up to banned.
You know what I could see actually as a possibility? Take mind control from us and give us brain control back.
Ooh,
No,
that'd be a good one.
no.
No, you don't want that, but that would be a fun format. Mind
This
control
would be
does.
fun. I do agree, but
Mind control
But
doesn't
overall,
allow you to
it's too
attack
broken.
or tribute, but it also doesn't have a cost other than playing it and activating it. Whereas brain control costs you 800, and it's yours
Yep.
till it's gone.
Oh, I would love. I honestly would love to see it come back just because of the simple fact of
I steal your Zen mains. Nah, 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 nah.
it just troll the hell out of my opponent until the end phase, and then just it's done. And then, or if I just want to just say screw it, and then it comes over. Oh, I'm going to use you as any seed material. Bloop. Bye.
Yeah. Also, if your opponent have a BOS on the field and another monster, yeah, I'm gonna attack your BOS, attack you twice, and then probably again. How you like it? On the cost.
Or I'll just say screw it, take control of it, and I'll activate its ban shit your freaking out of the area.
Yeah. But that's all with my controls.
What about you, Keo? What's your thoughts on what you think's going to happen on the ban list?
Pretty much most of the things you guys already said. So, the thing I will say is why I'm gonna get a hit. If not, because they currently only need 2 cards. First turn is Magician and Shard. Done. They can get easily Shockmaster out first turn with that. And another thing is I could see Megalo being limited to 1 or 2 just to slowing down that process. Because most of their combos activate the effect of they need to discard the hand, and Megalo allows you to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much most of the thing I can see right now. Other than that, Agent not gonna. Although Agent is doing good, I kind of see it's gonna get a hit. Much. Maybe Hyperion being a 2. Maybe that's about it.
You know what's funny is we with the agents, I really haven't. I've seen a few decks, but mostly the most I've seen agents use is I think it's Jupiter to go into get your Mercury for your shine balls for an easy gotcha. But I haven't seen a lot of spamage and abusage of the agents, even though we got it back.
Yeah, Agent is here and there.
To me, as I said, it's all about, I think, Konami. They take our goodies away for a while until we forget about them and a new engine hits, and then either you get new players who don't know about some of these older cards that were so boshed and so broken, or you've got your players who have been playing for forever, and they've got that collection that supports all the new stuff, and they're like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about that old engine. I'm going to stick with what I've been playing. So, I mean, Konami kind of trolls us, but I'm going to go out on a limb. Like I said, I'm going to say that out of all the formats, this last one has been the best one Konami has done. Because nothing has been completely broken. Are there broken decks? Of course, there's always a way for there to be broken decks, but they're farther between than past formats. What do you think of the current one, Eddie?
I like being able to see the variety that's been out right now. So, to me, I want to see more variety. like more than what we've had this format.
What about you, Kyo?
I think that's what Konami trying to do. They constantly changing the meta at the moment with introducing new archetype every booster pack. With like the upcoming one, Cosmo Blazer, you got Fire King, Fire Fist, which can be really competitive from what I saw. And the next one you have Wind, with bring back
Harpies.
Happy Lady. Yeah.
Which I want to think. I think Konami really does listen to these because I've been saying for a few podcasts, I want Harpy support. I want Harpy support, and then I saw it.
Yep.
So they're listening to Midnight TCG.
Certainly hope so.
So, and I guess kind of wrap it up. We've all given our thoughts. Some more personal than others. Some happen they're more opinion based, but that's probably our predictions for now. We'll look at March 1st and see how they come around. I've got a plan for next week's podcast, but I'll clue you into that later. But I will tell everyone that the Flash tournament's already planned. And the only hint I'm going to say is that participating in the Flash tournament this week could be really helpful next weekend.
Next weekend?
Yes. So make sure you tune in on Thursday, usually between 7 and 9 p.m. Watch for the Flash tournament sign-ups and get signed up for it because the Fox is always doing something interesting in Flash tournaments. The guys here can tell you how interesting some of them can get.
You can come and watch Kyo and I play against each other, and then possibly have to play against each other again for a, what is it, Inzektor Ladybug mat?
Inzektor Ladybug this time.
Ugh.
So with that, the last thing I want to mention, Tri-Site Tournament, we're looking at actually starting the sign-ups at the beginning of February. Right now, the only confirmed prizes are from myself, Midnight Fox. Basically, you have to join all 3 sites, and you get the opportunity to have your name put in a raffle to win an Inzektor Gigamanus mat or a Calcujotter. Pictures are up on there. So when I actually validate that thread, you'll see what the prizes are that are up for grabs. It's a free tournament to enter, and I'm kind of thinking if our other boards don't get on board with offering price support, I might pick up a couple tins as price support for our top couple players, but definitely keep your eye out for that. Hey, it's a chance to win another free mat. The Fox is all about giving free stuff. Just keep coming back, keep bringing your friends, keep tuning in. You never know.
No Matt gonna win that mat.
No, Matt better not win that mat.
Hey, shush you! You're about to possibly win another mat from a Flash tournament, and Fox's wife's gonna get pissed.
Yeah, I know. Hey, you could be the one to win it too.
You both are very close.
Yeah, but the thing is you've probably got more of a chance than I do, and you're more
You never
expensive than me.
We shall
Never
see.
know.
Depends on who tunes in this week for the Flash tournament. But this has been Midnight Fox and Eddie Phoenix.
Bye, everybody.
And Kyo
Have a good day.
for the Competitive Edge podcast, and we'll see you next week.